All the time, people assume that there's a man behind my music, a co-writer, a producer, a mentor, that somebody's helping me out. But nobody does. I write it, I produce it, I perform it. I do have a mixing engineer back in my country, but even vocals, I learned to mix my vocals myself. Every single angle of my craft is under my full control. And the moment people find that out, I see a disbelief or a shock, and often they say, "You did that?" Yeah, I did that, and I told you like 10 times. You just apparently can't process it. And that right there, that little moment of surprise, is exactly why I'm filming this video today. This shock has a number attached. Across the last 13 years of Billboard's Hot 100, 93.3% of songs were produced without a single woman producer. Only 5.9% of producing credits went to women in 2024. Only 20% of Spotify's top 1,000 artists are women. And for 5 consecutive years, not one woman was nominated for Grammy Producer of the Year. Not one, 5 years in a row. The music industry loves women on stage, but it doesn't trust them in the studio. And when the woman is behind in the music, the assumption is still that someone else did it. A man, a mentor, someone more credible. I've lived that assumption my entire career. And the data says that I am not alone. People love to say that feminism is over. You can vote, you can work, what else do you want? What I want is to walk into a room and not have my competence be a surprise. What I want is for the data, the actual numbers, to not make me want to flip a table. I'm here to show you facts, and then I'm going to let you decide. First of all, let's fix the meaning of the word feminism, because feminist has a PR problem, and honestly, this is just exhausting. In a recent survey, less than half of people said they identified as feminists. But when the same people were given the actual dictionary definition first, they believe that women should have the same rights, power, and opportunities as men. Up to 77% said yes, that's me. So the majority of humans on Earth believe in feminism. They just don't want the label, which means the problem isn't the idea. The problem is that someone somewhere did a really effective job of making the word feel dangerous. And who benefits from that? People already in power. Because a movement that's afraid of its own name is a movement that doesn't organize, doesn't vote, doesn't show up, and it didn't happen by accident. In 1980s, conservative media launched a deliberate campaign to rebrand feminism as extremism. Rush Limbaugh coined the term feminazi, directly comparing women who want equal rights to the most evil regime in modern history. And the word repeated itself on the national radio for years. It slipped into the culture, and it worked successfully. The Hollywood joined and did its part. Movies like Fatal Attraction painted independent women as dangerous and unhinged. The message was subtle but surgical. A woman who doesn't need a man is a woman to fear. Because the truth about power, you don't need force to control people if you can get them to control themselves. Make a woman feel embarrassed to call herself a feminist, and she won't organize, won't show up, won't demand, won't vote. She'll stay quiet and call it a personal choice. The most effective cage is the one that prisoner builds herself out of others people's words. So the next time someone makes you feel embarrassed to say the word feminist, ask yourself who taught them to react that way and why. Let's talk about your bank account. In 2024, women working full-time made 80.9 cents for every dollar a man made. And that number got worse from the year before. It's the biggest drop in the earnings ratio since 1966. We literally went backward. 60 years of backward in 1 year. But here's the part that should make every woman's blood boil. The moment you become a mother, you drop to 74 cents. Meanwhile, when men become fathers, their earnings go up. And the system doesn't just penalize being a woman, it specifically, deliberately, mathematically punishes you for creating life. And no, a higher degree doesn't save you. The gap actually widens for women with MBAs and master's degrees. And let me give you the number that nobody talks about. Women perform 2.5 times more unpaid care work than men globally. It includes cooking, childcare, elderly care, housework, collecting water, all of it unpaid. All of it invisible on paper. And if you put a dollar value on all that free labor women provide every single day, it would be the largest economy on earth, larger than US and China combined. The global economy is literally built on women's unpaid backs. And we have the audacity to say they don't contribute enough? This isn't a feeling, it's your rent, it's your savings, your retirement, and your freedom. Okay, we talked about money, music, but let's talk about power. Women hold 27% of parliamentary seats globally, 30% of management roles, and 107 countries have never, not even once in human history, had a female head of state. But here's what I find really interesting. The proof that women in power actually work. Finland, the happiest country on earth for 9 years in a row. Under Prime Minister Sanna Marin, the top 5 government positions were all held by women under 35. Young women, and instead of chaos, 9 years of topping the World Happiness Report. And Sweden ranked the number 1 best country for women 4 years in a row. Women have held more than 40% of Sweden's parliament for nearly 30 years. Sweden also ranks as the most gender-equal country in the entire European Union. Iceland, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Denmark, New Zealand, all consistently in the top 10 happiest countries on earth. All consistently leading the world in gender equality. 35% of the top 20 happiest countries were led by women. That's more than 3 times the global average of women in leadership. And what do these countries all have in common beyond female leadership? Universal childcare, paid parental leave for both parents, free university education, low corruption, high trust in government, strong social safety net. Finland, female-led government, didn't just put women in chairs, they built systems that made life better for everyone, men, women, children, and families. And this is not a coincidence. This is a pattern, and the economic data backs it up. Companies with more women in leadership consistently outperform their competitors. And this isn't just injustice. It's the entire world leaving hundreds of trillions of dollars on the table because of who we were told we should be putting in charge. And I'm personally tired of seeing wars that don't make any sense, chaos caused by ego. I'm tired of it. I do have to bring up the part that nobody wants to sit with, but we have to. 1 in 3 women, which is 736 million human beings, have experienced violence from a partner or a stranger in their lifetime. Globally, 1 woman is killed every 10 minutes. Every 10 minutes, 1 woman is killed. In 2023 alone, 85,000 women and girls were intentionally killed by a partner or a family member. This is devastating. A 2025 survey found a 60% increase in concern about the lack of progress on gender equality. Nearly 1 in 4 countries is actively rolling back women's rights right now. Not decades ago, right now. And fewer than 1 in 5 women believe society views feminism positively. The movement is needed more than ever. When a movement starts working, the pushback gets louder. And the louder the pushback gets, the more you know it's working. I know what some of you are thinking. What about men's issues? And here's my answer. You're right. Men have issues too. And feminism is actually part of the solution to those as well. The same patriarchal system that tells women to be silent tells men to be tough, to never cry, to never ask for help, to measure their worth entirely by power and money. And men die by suicide at nearly 4 times the rate of women globally. Men are less likely to seek mental health support. Men are trapped in rigid roles that say vulnerability is weakness. That's not feminism's fault though. That's the same system feminism is fighting. Patriarchy doesn't liberate men. It just gives them a different kind of cage. And when women win equality, men get something too. Permission to be human, to feel, to parent, to rest, to exist beyond a paycheck. And the fight was never women versus men. It was always people versus a system that was failing everyone. When people assume there's a man behind my music, it tells me exactly what we still believe unconsciously about who gets to create, who gets to lead, who gets to be taken seriously. We need feminism when a woman earns less for the same work. We need it when motherhood is penalized and fatherhood is rewarded. We need it when unpaid labor keeps the world running but doesn't count. We need it when 93% of hit songs are made without a single woman in the studio. We need it when the girl gets killed every 10 minutes. We need it when the world itself has been weaponized to keep us quiet. We need it when someone hears my music and assumes it was a man. I know the label is polarizing, but the data isn't. And this was never about tearing anyone down. It's about finishing what was started. Equal rights, equal safety, equal opportunity for every single person on this planet. I don't think this is something radical. I think it's just math. And what I want you to do, if this video resonated, I want you to share it. Not to argue, but to start a conversation. I would appreciate if you could vote for people who actually show up for women's rights, to support women-owned businesses, artists, creators, and call out misogyny when you see it at work, at home, in the comments. And if you're a man watching this, I appreciate you. Your voice in this conversation matters more than you know. Thank you so much, and our choices today shape our tomorrow.